Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we're joined by what seems to be the free-to-play, like, super brain. And we've got NubRaids on the channel, absolutely killing it. How you doing, man?
Good. I don't know if it's super brain or if it's just not sleeping and running campaign over and over and over
Yeah,
and
yeah.
over again. Yeah, but thanks for having me on.
Now, look, so we're going to talk about if we were starting a completely fresh account and we didn't get all of the link codes, all that type of stuff, which 5 epics would we pick to carry the account? And the reason why I wanted to do this is I feel like I've had terrible luck. Okay, I feel like my shard pulling luck has been on like the lowest it's ever been for a free-to-play series. And every time I pull a shard, I'm just thinking, please, just one of the good epics. Like, I don't even care about legendaries. One of the good epics is what I'm after. So I thought it'd be cool to just see if our kind of like lists actually just straight line up, or if there's some difference in there. So
Do it.
I guess before we do it, we talked about there not a lot of sleep. How are you finding free-to-play life? Is this the first one you've done where you've gone kind of like fully hard on a free-to-play account?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so this is my first time doing the free to play challenge. So
Right, yeah.
and like I was scared in the previous year. I was like, oh, the time commitment. I don't know if I have it. I went for it this year. Honestly, it is a huge time commitment, but it is
Yeah,
a ton of fun progressing through all of the areas of the game. It's been really insightful as well for me to get like that fresh perspective of looking at rares, looking at epics from like that
definitely.
book perspective and that use perspective of a new player. Would I actually build this champion? Would I actually use them? It's
Yeah.
been a really fun new perspective. So yeah,
Because you've only got so many resources, haven't you? So,
yeah.
when I pull someone like a Woad Painted, I'm like, ooh, she's kind of like a great healer.
Yeah.
Like, great. But can I afford to have someone in my team who is just a great healer? And does that complement the other champions you've got? So I think you look at champions very differently. Like I picked up Delaja. Where's Delaja? Probably in my reserve vault.
You just put away for a
Yeah,
later.
anyone who's got the swirly disc goes in the reserve. But I was like, oh, I don't know, because generally I'll be like, nah, just not really good enough. But does have an AoE decrease attack, which I do not have yet. And so there's kind of like things that go through your brain, which is just a bit different when you're doing these type of challenges where you can't just throw loads of resources at it.
Yeah, I thought you've got one I pulled, which is Luria. I think she's a dark elf damage dealer. I'm like, oh, she does have that block revive for Sun Wukong. That's really useful. But it's like, it's another damage dealer. The investment to get her good to go to do that is so big. I'm
Yeah,
like, I think I need champions at more utility that are going to help me actually beat dungeons and clan boss and stuff like that. Just, yeah, great for anti Wukong, but that's not enough to
no,
build the champ this
it's
early.
almost like, she might be my 10th 6
Yeah,
star rather
yeah.
than someone that I need like today.
I'm so
Yeah, okay. Well,
close.
let's dive in. Let's dive into who would be, I guess, your 5th pick out
Okay.
of your 5.
Okay, so this one was sort of a question mark for me, and there was like 10 different options bouncing around my head. I've gone for, I think, a fairly bold choice, perhaps, that I don't know if you'll have. Skrank. I'm gonna say Skrank.
You know what? I've got Skrank and then crossed out.
Oh, there you go.
Because
Okay, nice.
so
All right.
interesting. I was on the same page, but I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, I crossed him out. I'll tell you why I crossed him out a bit later. But yeah.
Yes.
Talk us
Yeah.
through it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's so many you can pick, right? The reason is
Yeah,
just the A3, right? It's the
yeah,
AoE burn, and that can buck down to a 3-turn cooldown. AoE burn. I was like, man, that is such. I think he's the best epic burner. It's on the shortest cooldown. He's
yeah,
void. It's nice. I was like, man, for Hydra, for Spider boss as well. I'm like, that unlocks so much so easily. Really quite low investment on the free to play. I was like, yeah, that would be great. And then you can build him to actually do damage, and he hits really hard. So I
yeah.
said, it's a bold choice, but I'm like, those are two really hard areas to get through on a new
Yeah,
account.
definitely.
Um,
As I say, I had him on my list. It was
mm,
actually the second one I wrote on my list, and then I crossed
oh
them out
wow.
because of my number 1 epic, which
Okay. Okay.
yeah, but I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, well, let's go with my 5th,
Hmm.
and it's another void, which I'm sure people will already be upset about, but my 5th is actually Maneater.
Yeah.
So still extremely good, but probably so the obvious reason is because he unlocks unkillable stuff, and unkillable stuff for clan boss just becomes great. It just makes everything amazing, everything very easy. But honestly, people overlook how good everything is about this epic. Like right now, this epic would be in every single team that I'm running. A 2-turn block debuff is very hard to find, and it's so useful in pretty much all of Doom Tower. You've got a decreased attack, which is on an A1, and it doesn't need additional books for it to land, and it becomes all enemies if you crit. Like,
Yeah, that's crazy.
This is crazy. This A1 is better than almost any other champion that's going to do decreased attack for you.
Is it 1 or 2 turn? It doesn't say. It's such an old champion. It doesn't say how long it is. Is it 1 or 2 turn? Do you know? I don't know.
You know what? I think it's 2, but
yeah,
maybe it's 1 actually. I don't know.
But it's really strong either way.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm not sure actually. That's a good shout. I'm not sure. But definitely, like, if you think about Spider, where you've got attacks coming in and just being able to reduce the damage of all of those, consistently landing a decreased attack on some of the Doom Tower bosses and adds, like, it's just crazy. And then the A2 is also really good. Like this turn meter reduction from an enemy. So many bosses where that's going to be really strong. And he gets the turn meter. So he's basically pushing an extra turn really quick. He's just so good. And most people just think, oh, man eater, that's unkillable. But actually, he's really good across the game.
Like back in the day, we would really struggle, right, to get enough accuracy and speed on champions. That's something that's striking me about the free to play. I have too much accuracy on champions because
there's so many gear sets that have got it.
Perception. Perception is there, but because the event dungeon is open and actually relatively easy to farm the lower medium stages, you get lots of pinpoints as well, which is great. He's a great pick. I should have put him on my list actually. I'm really neglectful of clan boss stuff, because of Maneater. When I started playing the game, I was free to play for the first few months, but I was really lucky. I just got a Maneater, I think about 3 months in.
Oh, did you?
And nice. I followed the Deadwood Jedi website. I built budget Maneater team. And that was how I did clan boss.
You don't look back. Yeah, that's it. You almost forget that's content anymore, but it's actually the content that carries your account in the early game.
100%.
Yeah, okay. Well, who's your fourth one on your list?
Fourth one. This is an epic I think retains great value into the end game, and that's Farrakhan the Fat.
You know what's funny? What? He was on my list. I crossed him out, and he came back on the list.
Oh wow! Okay,
so he came back. He's also in my top 5.
Nice. Yeah, he's got so much value, right? The full ally attack with really nice buffs is phenomenal. I think for Fire Knight, for Clan Boss, I think that Demon Lord, that's really, really big. See, it's just good everywhere. Chimera is amazing everywhere. The decreased defense backup A1, I think, is quite useful to fill in teams. Potentially, he could be the only decreased defense on your team if you're living dangerously. And then the A2 is phenomenal too, right? For Demon Lord, for Chimera, even for Hydra, for so many bosses that burn and 2 poisons. It's a lot of extra damage. He's just incredible. I would love a Farrakhan the Fat.
I did have him, I think, in my last year's free-to-play. And like I say, like the Fire Knight tends to be somewhere where people struggle, and this ability just unlocks that shield. And the thing is, once you've unlocked the shield, as long as you've then got some turn meter stuff going on, it makes Fire Knight so much easier. But like you say, it's not just Fire Knight. He is just an all-rounder, like just extremely good. So he got back on my list. Okay, well, I'm going to go then for my number 3.
Yep. So he was number 4 for you, was he?
He was my number 4 as well,
Wow, same place. Cool.
So interestingly, I think she's in here. Yeah, I've picked one of the ones we got, which is Dawncaller. Now, potentially there's other revivers who are just equally good. But I would say, like, in terms of carrying me early, this ability to give me increased defense and increased attack is so strong. So, if it's somewhere like Clan Boss, I'm able to take hits. If it's Arena, I'm pumping my damage. I've got a nice little heal going off here on the A1, and then the revive is extremely good. And the fact that I get 100% turn meter just means that I've got a chance to unleash some sort of damage ability, or or actually what I'm finding in Doom Tower right now is I'm reviving a reviver to get the rest of my team back. Like it's kind of like this kind of like knock on. So her and Tagore are working really well. But I've been really impressed with her kit. I think she's a lot of fun. She's got this ability to decrease cooldown as well. So yeah, it might be that it's kind of like rose tinted goggles because I'm using her a lot at the moment, and I feel like she's really helpful. So does she really get into a top 5? Could be the answer is no, but I found her really useful.
Yeah, no, I think she's great. It's actually very interesting because my number 3 is a reviver, and you just meant it's Tagore as my number 3.
Oh, really? Right, okay.
It's really similar. And yeah, for me, Sabath has been on the back burner because I went for Tagore instead. He's an orc. But Tagore is really impressed me just because I think his A2 is incredible, and I finally booked it today, so I'm looking forward to actually getting to use it fully booked now. It was on a 5-turn cooldown. It's such an improvement going to 3, but it is a big AoE attack with increased speed. I figured increased speed was gonna be more important for me than the increased attack and increased defense. One thing that put me off Sabatha, I was like, oh, increased attacks gonna be, that's great for the event dungeon and farming that. But she puts up so many buffs, the boss takes a turn and strips them. But I think Tagore is so much healing. This A2, it is so much healing because you build him with high HP. And like I've got we mentioned in my video, the Journal of Necrotis on him, the relic. Rare relic.
Which is awesome,
more. And like it is chunky heals. And he also has the AoE revive with a shield. It does clash a bit for me with Sigmund, but if I didn't have Sigmund, gosh, that AoE shield, it's a long cooldown, but it is great. And he keeps people safe when he revives them as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because in my head I was like, do I fully book and put resources into Tagore or Sabatha? And it looks like we've gone in different directions. But both of them are extremely good. Yeah.
One thing I was thinking about, I feel like he sort of replaces Apothecary. You don't have the turn meter boost, but you get a lot of healing and reviving and that utility. And for Fire Knight, I was like, oh, Apothecary, he's got that 3-hit A1. But then I was like, wait, Tagore's not that far behind, right? Because if Tagore does A2, double A1s, because he hits on the A2, it's 5 hits. Apothecary, he do his turn meter boost, which is no hits, and then 2 A3s, it's 6 hits. So it's like 6 hits for Apothecary versus 5 for Tagore. It's not that big of a difference, and we're getting War Master procs every hit, potentially. The healing. I was like, it's great. Key buff, lock it in.
Good shout. Okay, well, let's you jump into your number 2. Who's 2 on your list?
This might be crazy that he's number 2. You might think he should be number 1. I put Geomancer.
Yeah, man.
I'm presuming he was on your list as well.
He's number 1 on my list for sure.
Okay, I'm stealing your list. Yeah, this guy, I mean, he is bonkers, right? Just I think for Iron Twins, Big Blocker, Demon Lord, all the Doom Tower bosses, Hydra, probably Chimera, just everywhere, so many bosses. He's the premier boss killer who makes your team tankier at the same time. Like that is crazy. Weaken is really tough to get as well. He has that stealing buffs. Yeah, he's got everything. This guy's a monster. I think he's top 2 epics in the game alongside Seer, but I would not want Seer on an early account like this. I wouldn't have the gear or the buffs.
No, exactly that. This guy, so he's my number 1. He's also the reason why I took Skrank off, because basically I don't need an AoE burn if I've got Geomancer, because it's kind of like having an AoE burn. As soon as you've got the burn out, if anyone hits you, they basically do what a burn damage would do to the target that's got the burn on them. So, and it's not just hits Geo; it's like hits the whole team. It's just it's a disgusting skill kit for an epic. Honestly, like he is so strong for me. It's just like he's the ultimate boss killer. And he's so good. He's so good.
It was interesting. The dev said to me before that they did consider nerfing him a second time, because he is like OP, and then they were like, oh, people would be so angry.
Oh, they'd be so mad.
They're not doing it.
They were so mad the first time, even when the nerf became kind of like it's not even a nerf. It was like, I'm not sure if it's a buff either. It was just he changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, new players are probably like, wait, Geomancer used to be potentially even stronger? That's impossible. Like, how is that possible?
Yeah, yeah.
It's true.
I really love this guy's model as well. I think it looks actually cool.
Yeah, it's got crazy
So
eyes.
angry all the time. He's so angry.
I feel like that's what I look like at 3 a.m. when I'm grinding the campaign in the free to play.
The first day of the free to play, I was up till I think it was 7. Literally,
Oh my
I started
God.
streaming at 8 p.m. I stopped streaming at like midnight, and then I was like, oh yeah, no, sorry guys, I need to get some sleep. I then watched a couple of other streams, and before I knew it, I was like, oh man, it's 7 a.m. I'm like, keeping on the sofa. Right, so I guess he was my number 1. So my number 2 was potentially your number 1. I don't know. Maybe you picked someone else. Oh, hold on. I always go to the wrong factions.
Oh, you almost went to my number 1. That's interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So Deacon didn't make your top 5?
No.
Wow, that's actually insane. So Deacon was my number 2, with Geo my number 1. I just think Deacon, damn, he just unlocks so much stuff. Like, it's absolutely mental. So, turn me to feel. So, this is one of the things which I don't love about Tagore, and what put me off actually putting books into him is, somewhere like Arena, getting increased speed does not mean that your next champions go. It just means that it's great for dungeons, but for stuff like Arena, it's actually, if you haven't really like finished the role, I'd love it if he had like a 15% turn me to feel or something like that, just to finish off his job. But obviously, kind of so much stuff in his kit. but Deacon throwing the turn meter back of enemies and throwing yours forward is such a crazy position to be in. Like you just got so much additional gain there, and then the extra turn means that it's the equivalent of being on like a 2-turn cooldown, which is insane. AoE drop defense is always helpful. A leech is helpful as well. The speed aura, which I don't currently have. I'm just thinking, like, if I'm rounding out my team of epics, this guy is like bonkers. It does so much. Plus, it enables like your 2-for-1 teams for stuff like clan boss. So really enables you to go fast. For me, it was just like he was my number 2, but he adds so much value. Even having Ugo for a starter, I would still level out Deacon to 60 like in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually, I wasn't even thinking about him for Arena, but yeah, I picked a different decreased defense champ for my list, but gosh, yeah, the impact of Deacon for Arena is absolutely huge, and we were mentioning that's like one of the worst areas as a new player. I picked Stag Knight as my number 1.
Okay,
Decreased defense option.
Interesting. I definitely was on my radar, but yeah.
Yeah. So I think he's got crazy base stats, number 1, but he brings not only the AoE decreased defense, but also decreased attack, which I think is super useful because they're 2 kind of essential debuffs to have for so many different areas. So it's like, okay, great. 1 epic covering 2 of those. And then the double hit A1 with decreased speed. Again, I'm thinking for Fire Knight, for Chimera now, for even some Hydra, like spreading that around is quite nifty. And it's really hard to get, I think, a good decreased speed champions on a free to play. Like there's just very few. So yeah, even though it's just an A1, he does the A1 a lot, so it's pretty reliable.
Yeah, his kit's so basic, right? But you're right. I mean, he was on my radar, and I was like, if I'm bringing Deacon, do I need this guy? But actually, one of the things I'm finding right now, and I said it earlier, is I don't have an AoE decrease attack. And it hurts. Like all of the hits hurt a lot. When any boss who's hitting me, like I'm trying to kill the magma dragon right now. Oh, I'm getting absolutely whacked every single hit, and I'm praying that Taragi the Frog lands his decreased attack. Wrong affinity with like a 30% chance anyway. I'm like, it's painful. So yeah, I do get it. Get it.
I think he combos super. I think Ugo didn't make either of our lists. I think Ugo is obviously super strong, and she's amazing for Hydra. But I'm like, that block buffs is not crazy helpful for a lot of the early game progression stuff. I think Stag Knight plus Tagore is like, in terms of supports, like my goodness, that is a god tier combo. You've got so many core support parts, debuffs and buffs built into that. So many bases covered. I think they'd be even better than Ugo plus Tagore as the starter code would have been like a Stag Knight Tagore. Like, oh wow, that would make me.
Yeah, it does show as well. Like there's just so many actually great epics. Like last year we didn't allow legendaries to be used, and there's so many good epics where you can just like basically carry all of the early game, but and like comfortably carry the early game. Because there's a bunch we didn't even call out. You know, you've got you could easily go into another 10 each of great epics that would be good pulls. Unfortunately, none of them have landed here.
I'm so jealous of your Cold Heart, dude. And she's got Phantom Touch as well. Like, come on, what is that? Hacks. That's what it is.
Yeah. Anyway, dude, look, thank you so much for joining me. We have done another collab on Nub's channel where I guess basically we're talking about the best possible start you could have to any account, and and what we chose for our free to play and how that's different from perhaps what the optimal would be. But don't check that out. It would be linked down below. Click the link, sub to Nubs if you haven't already. I'm sure you have. But yeah, dude, any last words before we go and play some more free to play?
I almost just one-keyed Brutal Clan Boss for the first time.
Serious? Damn.
Yeah, dude.
Wow, that's actually insane.
I was probably good RNG run, but it's close to a one-key. That's bonkers.
Wow. Like nearly 3 times my damage, man. That's
dude, that's like almost 1,500 energy into Minotaur yesterday. That's all
I've got to do it. I'm trying to push Arbiter so hard, and I'm on this upgrade to 5 champions. Everything is like use your energy somewhere else other than Minotaur. That's basically what it's saying to me. It's like don't get masteries, and then any events and stuff that drop, it's like don't get masteries. Clan v Clan comes out, don't worry about masteries, and I'm just like, I know how much I need them. I've got near enough full masteries. So I've got 3.
Yeah.
And Taradi on his way.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah.
That's where I was like yesterday, and then I sank all that energy in. I was like, I'm just doing it. I don't know if it was the right decision.
Close to a 5-star to get the next mission done here?
So I haven't finished that one. I do have for my 5th 5-star. It's Ugo, but she's not level 60 yet. But I was like,
oh really?
There's no need for me to push too far.
Where's all your energy coming from, dude? Like, I don't get it. Oh man, I'll say that I do need to get myself some clan gold shopping.
Shop? Oh look,
I've got some to use.
Yeah, you've got a lot. You'll catch up with that. That's basically where I was yesterday, basically. So yeah, you could totally do it if you wanted.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you, man. Thanks for coming on. And yeah, thanks guys for watching. I'll see you soon.